Hello everybody, welcome back to 2CTV and another live update. Unfortunately, a bad update. Over the last few hours since last night, we've had absolute chaos again between the border between France and England, specifically Dover, as the French authorities have been struggling to keep the illegal migrants from leaving France, as they claim. They've been struggling. Some of them have been trying to stop the boats from leaving France by circling around them. But that didn't actually work because the numbers are still going up. And the border force in this country, as the migrants are coming in, have been finding it difficult to contain them. They had to obviously collect every single person. Otherwise, they'll go missing in the system in general. So they have to, unfortunately, pick them up anyway. There was a huge crowd, of course, leaving France, so running away from the authorities. We have the small boats problem, and now we also have the lorries again. That's also happening. We have the latest numbers, and we're going to talk about what's going on as a reaction from the so-called Conservative Party and the Parliamentary Party, because they are accelerating their plans, apparently, to remove Rishi Sunak. How many times have we heard this? Yes, another day. So, hello to everybody in the live chat. We'll get your reaction as usual during the live stream. First things first, let's talk about the latest numbers now because of what happened over the last few days. The first quarter of 2024 has actually hit a new record. 4,644 illegal immigrants have now crossed the English Channel to the United Kingdom so far in 2024 alone. It's a record for the first 3 months of a calendar year. If you want to compare this, most of it is because of the last few days. Most of it is because of what's actually been going on, especially the last week. The French authorities were not able to stop anyone, basically, or many of them. So they ran towards lorries and, of course, the small boats. Now they are here, and the UK Border Force struggling to pick them up because there's so many of them, but they have to process every single person. Otherwise, criminal gangs and cash in hand will continue. 4,644, compare this to 2022 and 2023. What do you think the numbers were compared to this? Wow. 2022 was quite high. 4,548, still fewer than now. 2023, 3,793, much fewer than now. It's only March. We've only been experiencing what we call the winter. What do you think is going to happen this summer? The Prime Minister is saying we need to calm down. He's come out to tell us that the plan is working. What plan is this? Unless the plan was to allow every single person in without vetting their backgrounds, then yes, the plan is definitely working. But what that sign says, stop the boats, that is not working, is it? The Tory party are kicking off. Again, that's not really new. Every few weeks they say they want to remove Rishi Sunak. And they never do. Right now we have a new campaign. Well, not really new. It's been a secret, worst kept secret in Westminster, underground campaign for Penny Mordaunt. Yes, they're getting behind Penny Mordaunt, another Liberal Tory, to replace Rishi Sunak now before the general election. Now, some of the parliamentarians, according to the sources that came to 2CTV, MPs in Parliament, they said they're still going to wait until May, the local elections, and then get rid of Rishi. Some of them are saying they want to remove him now. I don't believe either side. I don't think they're going to remove him anytime soon, but that's what they're telling us, and we have to report it, obviously. I do believe if the local elections are completely disastrous, which should be, then that could be it for Rishi. But I'm not really speculating anything, because we don't really trust the Parliamentary Party and the Conservatives, because they talk a lot, but nothing actually happens. So the Prime Minister says the plan is working. Everything's fine. We also have a statement from the Home Office following this chaos over the last couple of days, saying the unacceptable number of people who continue to cross the channel demonstrates exactly why we must get flights to Rwanda off the ground as soon as possible. They mean it, by the way. They really mean it. We continue to work closely with French police, who are facing an increasingly violence and disruption on their beaches as they work tirelessly to prevent these dangerous, illegal and unnecessary journeys. We remain committed to building on the successes that we saw arrivals drop by more than a third last year because of bad weather, by the way, including tougher legislation and agreements with international partners in order to save lives and stop the boats. I don't know what they're drinking, but I want some of that, because they're clearly high on something. The Home Office are telling us that they are working with the French. We already saw, some of you might have already seen the footage over the last couple of days since this chaos basically started again, with the French police with cameras. Let's not forget there were cameras there. They did it on purpose. They were circling around the boat to stop the boats from crossing the English Channel. And then when the cameras were off, just left them alone. You had people running in Calais and other places towards basically lorries to get on lorries. The lorry situation is back again. The whole thing is collapsing. We have no borders anymore. We know that. But especially the last couple of days, the borders are down. The French police can't stop any of them. Maybe a couple. The border force are struggling, as I said, because they have to pick them up. You know, we criticize the border force, but the border force should stop the boats from getting to Dover. That's the first thing. But once it is in England, what is basically in our territory, it's the job of the border force to make sure they pick them up. And I know it's bad because we still have to pay for their hotels and everything else. That's not really the right solution. The solution is not to have them in the first place. But if they are already on our shore, then you have to pick them up. Because if you just let them run into the country, they get lost in the system. They become criminals, obviously. They have to work cash in hand and do whatever they want to survive. And that's even worse than us paying for the hotels. It's a lose-lose anyway. The only solution is just to tell the French we're going to bring him back. And I don't care what they say anymore. We know they're coming from France. Everyone knows they're coming from France. Why are we completely surrendering to the French? It's embarrassing. It's so bad that the Labour Party is now taking advantage of this new crisis, which is basically the existing crisis. It just escalated over the last couple of days. Even the Labour Party, Stephen Kinnock, has come out to criticise the government for not stopping the boats and the lorries. He said, despite all the evidence to the contrary, Rishi Sunak keeps on telling the British people that small boat arrivals are coming down, and his promise to stop the boats remains on track. Well, he's right. I think Stephen is right. Can he not see what is happening from inside his number 10 bunker? Or does he think we can't see it for ourselves? I'm not a fan of the Labour Party or Stephen Kinnock, but he's right. Not that the Labour Party has any better plan, although at this point, if we're going to have a change in government, let's see what the Labour Party does, what the Labour government does. Some people think they're going to keep the doors open anyway. And some people think they might be actually under pressure to stop the boats. Now, the Labour government could actually increase immigration in a legal way, but they could actually potentially win the argument over the illegal migration because it's good PR for them. They could make it some sort of new agreement with Macron. Macron could be more cooperative with the Labour government. This is the point. It's disgusting, but they could win it. Now, as we said, what was the number again? 4,000... I forgot the number again. 4,644. It's only March. That's never happened before. It's getting worse and worse, right? Look at this. I don't know if you can see, it's kind of small, but you get the gist of it. Just look at the lines, the different colors. The yellow line at the bottom, that's 2019. Between January and December. The orange one was 2020. Do you remember 2020? When we all kicked off saying this is chaotic. We had everybody, the local activists from Steve Law's Active Patriot going to Dover exposing it. We had the Nigel Farage joining in, and then we joined in, and everybody reported that 2020, the numbers were high and we were freaking out. Compared to the next 3 years, 2020 was nothing. That is the problem. The red line is 2021. Went up to 28,526. Then 2023, actually no, 2022 was really bad. 45,774. Then 2023 came down. It didn't come down. 2023, the green one, is still higher than red and orange and yellow. It just went slightly below the blue one, mostly because when the blue line was going up, 2022, that was the people smugglers advertising more because they were telling all the illegal migrants, you need to come now because the Rwanda plan is coming. That's how they sold it. They were just very good at business. They just got more clients in 2022 by scaring the migrants, saying you need to come now. And in 2023, when the migrants realized, there's no rush, we could just go whenever, the numbers are still high. But then you can see, look at now, January, February, March, you can see a purple line, because that's just now, 2024. It's higher than every single other line. It's even higher than 2022. It's higher than the blue one. We have no borders. But the Prime Minister says he has a plan. He told us when he was when he was selected, within the first 100 days, he said, he's going to fix it. And now the Tory party, the Tory parliamentary party, who are planning to remove him, which again, they do it every few months and they fail, so I don't trust them. They're saying Penny Mordaunt is the best option. Now, I got nothing against Penny Mordaunt as a person, apart from some of her views and her obsession with hanging out with Bill Gates. Put that aside. I'm sure she's a nice lady. She's still from a liberal wing of the Tory party. She's not really alpha. Rishi is not alpha. Penny is not alpha. You need someone alpha. Whether it's alpha male or alpha female, you need someone strong to go to Macron to say, I don't care what you want to say, we're going to bring the boats back. Go to the European judges and say, shut up. Remove the Act of Parliament that Tony Blair imposed on us to force us to follow the European judges. Even the other European members of ECHR don't have that legislation. Denmark, France, they can still do deportations while being member of ECHR. It's because they don't have that Act of Parliament that Tony Blair added to make it even harder for us. The problem we had with Blair government wasn't necessarily what happened in Iraq, wasn't necessarily the mishandling of the public purse and the recession. It was the biggest damage they did was to the constitution and the fundamental values of this country. From the creation of the Supreme Court to the Act of Parliament forcing us to follow the European judges, to every single thing that he did. Now the new version of Blair, Keir Starmer, wants to do that further by bringing down the voting age to give voting rights to children and foreigners. They want to give voting rights to foreigners so that they could elect our MPs. What do you think is going to happen? Did we not see what happened in Rochdale? That's going to be worse everywhere in the country. All right. See what you guys are saying. Super chat from Aaron. Firstly, thank you very much, Aaron, saying there is no deterrent. It must be severe, including and Lord X again. Thank you for a massive super chat, £50. Thank you so much, Lord X, saying off topic. The Khan report solutions are crazy. The create a division, then the solutions are to centralize power. Spot on. Create new institution, new police force, force social cohesion, tackle misinformation and segments of their society, and it will cost billions. Again, that kind of reminds me of, on a very different level, the other damaging thing that Blair did, which was devolution. So devolution is decentralization. It was just another version of centralization. You didn't devolve powers from Westminster. You didn't give it to local people in all the different counties and regions. You just created secondary centralized entities in Wales, in Scotland, everywhere. And this is what we're having now. I mean, look at the role of the Mayor of London. If I were to stand as the Mayor of London as a candidate, which I've been pushed to, hashtag Maya for Mayor, oh yeah, get ready for that, it will be on a platform to abolish the role. We don't want it. It didn't work. It's not in the British culture. On the one hand, we have Americanized our system by bringing in a pseudo Supreme Court structure, and of course making everything presidential, and all these mayoral jobs, and also police commissioners. We elect police commissioners. We don't have the American culture. The police commissioners as a role is just complete nonsense. Do you think they hold the police to account? No, it's just for their CV so they could become an MP in the future. It's like local councillors. We have some good local councillors, most of them are independent. The rest of them, especially the young local councillors, Tory, Labour, all of them, they only have that job so they could put it on their CV so they become a candidate to become MPs. That's what they're doing it. The whole thing is sad. The whole structure is sad. M says Maya for Mayor. Yeah, let's do it. Hashtag at least it rhymes. Just for that reason I might do it. F it. Just to remind Magna Carta trumps this caliphate. Well, it should. Someone said something about me not being able to do it as mayor. Yes, Snakes and Doggies says, not sure you're dark enough to be mayor, sir. I know. No, it's okay. I can get one of these spray tans. And then, or I could just wait for the summer, stand in the sun for a while, get fully brown, and then I can win the London mayor. Terry says, actually, England does not have our own national parliament. We have the centralized British parliament. We are the only nation in the union without... Exactly. But by the way, the solution is not to have the Scottish Parliament, Welsh Parliament, and English Parliament. That doesn't help. Just get rid of the others. We don't need that much centralisation. It's just complete nonsense. You just need to make sure that the MPs are representing each area, not the central party. That's the main problem that we currently have. Dave says, Maya, you could stand for reform and stand for the people of our nation. I would rather die in a ditch than stand for any sort of election. I'm not getting involved with frontline politics. That's not my job to do politics. My job is to do media. Maybe 20, 30 years from now, when I'm bored, I want to retire from this, then I'll do that. And actually, you need MPs who are older. You need more wisdom. And it doesn't mean every single older MP has wisdom, by the way. Look at Joe Biden and George Galloway. But you still need some sort of life experience. I don't really want MPs to be in their 20s or 30s. Not even 40s. That's still young. Anyway, going back to live chat, super chat. Keith Lawton, one of our regulars, is back with another super chat support. Thank you, Keith. And Aaron again, saying if 1972 EEC Act can be declared illegal, everything from it wouldn't that be illegal and instantly removable? Technically not. I'll explain why. That would include everything Blair did. No, I mean, I wish it was like that. the way the parliamentary system works in this country, the acts of parliament, makes it so hard to do like a domino effect. For example, in Argentina, Javier Milei, over the last few weeks, just been scrapping everything. He's just erasing everything, all the laws and all the bureaucracies. We can't do that. Even something that could be linked to something else in the past, whether it's the European Court of Justice nonsense, or obviously the European Union and everything else, they're not all linked, and that is a sad reality. Even if one main legislation back in the 70s or 80s or 90s was basically unlawful, let's just say, for the sake of the argument, not that legislation could be unlawful, because Parliament gave consent. Even if they were immoral, doesn't really mean that by removing it, you can remove everything that happened since. That's the problem. Actually, it might not be a problem. Checks and balances are important. We just have to do everything separately, individually. England for the English, one of our regulars, by the way, their username is ironic. It's not actually England for English. He says, you don't know what you're talking about, 2C. You need apostrophe and E, and 2C has capital T. How many times do I have to tell you? Oh, we need more intelligent trolls. Come on, guys. Michelle reminds us of the St. George's flag. 23rd of April, St. George's Day. Whitehall, Westminster. Don't forget. As Archive said, the UK is a Pakistani colony now. I mean, I shouldn't laugh, but if you don't laugh, it's just too depressing. I mean, we just had the Pakistani flag flown on the Westminster Abbey because it's Pakistan Day, Resolution Day. Seriously. You can't have any flag of a country that has any, not necessarily just the Islamic symbol, any other religious symbols on top of a Christian building. It's weird. Don't do it. I don't even want the Star of David to be flown on top of Westminster Abbey. That would be weird. This is a Christian country. Westminster Abbey should be representing Church of England, which we don't even know what it's about anymore. Crazy. Mick says, get off your knees and fight. Good reminder that we shouldn't just moan about things. We should also do something. Oh, we got another one. Another unhappy customer, guys. KC says, corporate news. Whatever that means. Well, we've had enough of the way you deceive our eyes and ears. What? Oh, no, he was talking, that's actually in favor of me. It's fine. From Sky to the BBC, my 2C sets us free. Thank God. On the internet, you will see 2C TV sets us free. I'm not really sure if that's good or bad. I really can't tell if it's ironic. None of the point of this message is not really clear. Is it supportive? Is it ironic? Someone could confirm. That would be great. I don't know if I'm the corporate news or... Because it says you deceive our eyes. So you're talking to me, right? I don't know. I'm tired. Anyway, I need clarification. Context matters in the comments you guys give us. Make grammar great again. True that, brother. True that. You're a Iranian, 2C. Don't forget, well, at least I can speak English better than you. I'm not Iranian, I'm Persian, my ethnicity. Get that right. I'm not Iranian as a nationality. I don't have the Iranian nationality. It's like saying I'm South Korean. I'm not. Yes, ethnicity, I'm Persian. I can never be Anglo-Saxon, but I'm a proud Brit. So shut up, man. Next. Who wants to come at me? Come on. Bring it on. I'm in a mood. Jane says we need to remove our corrupt councillors and MPs UK-wide, all in bed with the WF. As I said, my radical plan is maybe not this general election, but the next one. Basically start from scratch. No existing MP should be allowed to stand. That's a good start. It's not the only solution, the full solution, but it's a good start. No existing MP should be able to stand. Start from scratch. And no one has actually stood before. I just don't trust anyone right now. Go scout on the streets. Just find random people. Get them to stand. I don't care at this point. No one that's linked to centralized parties. Terence says, what do you think is the solution to these illegal immigrants? Well, firstly, you need to tell the European judges that we don't care about that. Just leave the whole agreement. And obviously, the easy option, the beginning, is to remove any sort of accommodation or any incentive, any benefits, but that's not even the full solution. You then have to actually start deporting, whether it's back to France or to their original countries, despite consequences, international law, and then declare an emergency, shut down the borders in terms of newcomers, not necessarily airport borders. Shut down the borders, no more immigration for a while. We've done a net zero to sort out, to come up with a better asylum system or the immigration system, point-based system that actually works, and we could open it slowly in a few years based on merit and based on contribution and from countries and cultures that are more level-headed and in terms of level playing field with us. You can't just randomly bring everybody from the third world and expect them to become first world. You import the third world, you become the third world. Especially when you do it in big numbers, mass numbers. If you have like one or two every few months or a few years as asylum seekers, genuine political refugees, then that's fine. That's easy numbers to help them integrate, and they will be forced to integrate because they will be the odd ones out. Sean says, what stops us from sending them back to France? So it's primarily a political will. So the excuse that the government has is the backlash when it comes to international law, so the European judges. But there's no physical consequences. The only fear they have is that they will fall out with the French government. I mean, when was the last time the French government was actually our friend and ally? We had a massive row over fisheries with the Brexit deal. We have a row every single day over this nonsense. We had a row when we got an agreement with the Americans and Australians, and the French had a meltdown saying, what about us? What about us? They always want to cry anyway, the French establishment. So at this point, just tell them to go away and start sending people back and basically close down the system, saying we do not accept any more applications, any asylum applications. So if you come here, you'll be sent back or you'll be in prison. I mean, I don't want them to be in our prisons because that will be a cost to us, but even short term, it will be a good deterrent. Going back to Super Chat people. First, we have Steve Fricker. Thank you very much, Steve, for your support. And we have Brent from New Zealand saying, show resistance. Place St. George's flags and Union Jacks everywhere. Use their work printer if you have to. Islamists don't understand words, only action. That is actually not a bad idea in terms of fight back in a very British way, in terms of showing what we actually want to do. I mean, this is not really the first time something like this has happened. Even when it comes to revolutionary movements. For example, in 2009, when you had the rigged elections in Iran, the presidential elections, when you had the Green Movement, people were doing an uprising against the regime. Barack Hussein Obama betrayed the Iranians, made a deal with the Iranian regime. Remember that? But during the Green Movement, and that was a proper dictatorship, it is a dictatorship, the supporters of the Green Movement were going around wearing green clothing and green wristbands. Now, that is a very symbolic, revolutionary thing. You can still do it in a country that belongs to you, and we are still technically in charge, technically. Do it by flags. Have the flags everywhere. What are they going to do? On top of every car, every house. Do that and see what happens. And if anybody overreacts, well, it shows their true side, that they are traitors to this country. Whether it's the MPs or the media. If Emily Thornberry has a meltdown, that we have some people flying the flag, it will show her true face to her constituents and the voters. Another super chat from Israel. Why settle for mayor? Come to Israel and become prime minister. Imagine. They already call me a Zionist. Don't give them more excuses. Also, I cannot deal with the Israeli politicians. Have you seen some of the crazy politicians in Israel? They're mental. Especially the left-wingers. Forget about the nationalists. Some of the nationalists are very hardcore. But the leftist politicians in Israel, oh dear. You think George Galloway is bad? No. Yeah, I cannot deal with those guys either. Mariam says, Maya and Douglas Murray are the only sane folks in the UK media. That is sad, isn't it? Look where we've come. This is rock bottom. Me and Douglas are the only sane people. I mean, there are still a few good people out there as well. We got a lot of good rising stars in the new media. Paul Thorpe is one of them. I was actually on his channel a couple of days ago. Was it a couple of days ago? Yesterday? Can't remember. And there's a few. And actually, with our new project, let's do a plug. Why not? For those of you if you don't know, I can now semi-announce that our new project 2CTV Plus could be ready by April. Sometime in April. No promises. And we're going to get more people together. This is going to be a hub for new media, a new media revolution. We're going to get more rising stars to join our project, to have more voices, more opportunities. And I could sit back a little bit because I'm literally working 24/7. I might have a heart attack anytime soon. So this will help us to also become even more independent and not even rely on, for example, just YouTube, because obviously the YouTube, breaking news, all this stuff is not going to go anywhere. We're not leaving YouTube because news has to be free as possible. Everybody needs to know what's going on. But we have to also expand and we have to be secured. And this is part of it. And, you know, as I said repeatedly, I don't want to sell out. I had a few options to sell out to big financial backers or corporations. Obviously, you guys have had my back until now. If you don't, I'll sell out. I won't, don't worry. We will continue. We will continue to fight back, and we'll still growing. We're now 425,000. Actually, we're going close to, I checked, 426,000 almost. We were only on 400,000, was it a couple of months ago? A month ago? A couple of months ago. So we shall carry on with your support. Thank you very much. We're going to come back later with another update about the lockdown rule breakers. I know it's still happening, but these are the MPs who are hypocrites and they are getting away with it. But we're going to expose them. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Maya Tusi, and we are the media.